Welcome to the Inquiring Cat Does Politics, and today I'm going to roam from Edinburgh to across to England, to London, and then to, guess what, Washington. Yes, so I just want to say a few words about the unintended consequences that happen from political decisions. We'll just start in Edinburgh, where they have recently spent £23 million of scarce money building cycle lanes all over the city, with a view to it encouraging the use of cycles in the future. That's fine. Maybe it's very worthy to do that and cut pollution and cut costs of travelling by car. But at the moment, those cycle lanes are scarcely being used. And when they are being used, they're being used largely by cyclists delivering home deliveries of fast food, which is something that is a growing market, I guess. But of course, the trouble with home deliveries of food is that you're actually damaging the restaurant business that's suffering from Rachel Reeves' decisions on national insurance, minimum wage, and all the rest of it. So it's just exacerbating a problem. And I don't suppose anybody in the Scottish government had a brain cell to work that one out. The next bit of interesting, be careful what you wish for, is Rachel Reeves in London. So she's launched her great initiative for growth. She has announced that nothing will stand in the way of growth, which is completely at odds with some of the things that her colleagues on the front bench are standing for. And the big hope that she's got for the British economy is that we are going to build a third runway at Heathrow, with planes taking off in 2035. Well, there's one thing we know about big infrastructure projects in the UK. That is, A, they massively overrun on cost. B, they massively overrun on time. And the pollution that is going to pour out of Heathrow as a result, when she says that's not going to happen because of new biofuels and all the rest of it, but none of those fuels are being produced at scale that could even remotely, in the foreseeable future, reduce the pollution problem. And so you running around in your Tesla or you recycling your plastic bottles is frankly making very little difference when she decides to launch the new runway at Heathrow. Around about 10% of the total freight carried from Heathrow is in freight exclusive planes. The rest is in the holds of passenger aircraft. And if that 10% could be moved to one of our regional airports, of which there are plenty, or the Sheffield airport that is sitting on mothballs and not being used at all, of course, that would increase runway capacity immediately at Heathrow as well. And the problem, of course, overall, is that as part of a growth strategy, it's a nonsense. The UK economy is not growing. It's going in the opposite direction since the budget. Well over 4,000 companies have gone bust since the budget because they no longer find it viable to stay in business. And so if you've got a situation where you're looking for short-term growth, there's absolutely no point in building a runway at Heathrow to solve that problem, although it may or may not, I don't know, be beneficial in the long term. But even the bosses at Heathrow are saying no planes will probably take off until 2045, by which time, of course, this government will be hopefully history and dust well before then. So it's a very ridiculous situation that Rachel Reeves is harping on about, and she just still doesn't seem to understand economics 101. The next interesting thing about unintended consequences is dear Donald over in America, who has now slapped tariffs on a whole load of countries. And at the time of recording this, we're waiting to see what he might do to the UK. The interesting one, of course, is Canada, which has been seen as a tremendous betrayal of the Canadian relationship by Trump, slapping tariffs on them. And I can understand, just look at the figures for Germany. There's a $777 deficit for America per capita with their trade with Germany. In other words, they're subsidizing every German occupant, every member of the population by $777. And this is long-term unsustainable. And in fact, if you went back and looked at Donald Trump on the Oprah Winfrey show about 40 years ago or 30 years ago, even then, when he claimed to have no clear aspiration to run as a politician, he was railing against the trade imbalances even then. So at the time of filming this, Canada is looking potentially at a very serious recession. Trudeau immediately introduced some tariffs on Republican states' products in America, like Florida orange juice, amongst other things. When Germany discovered it could no longer get its power or oil from Russia, it built a liquid natural gas LNG plant in record time in order to be able to import LNG. Canada currently sends its oil, now at a 10% tariff at the time of filming, across the border into America, where it gets refined and then sent back to Canada to put into their cars. What the Canadians actually have is a fantastic opportunity, because a crisis which causes stress is often the motivator for real innovation and dynamic action that may have been either politically inconvenient before, or it may just have looked too expensive. Now it's an imperative. So if they could build an LNG plant quickly, they could be exporting to Europe, where we need this stuff, and we could be buying it from them rather than from America. We have a timber shortage for the building trade in the UK. They have had taxes imposed upon their lumber by America. They can start shipping it to us straight away. The trouble with Donald Trump is he's very transactional, and he sees it as a zero-sum game where he wants to win and the opponent has no option but to either win or lose. But actually Canada does have options if it seizes the nettle and acts quickly. So how this will all play out in time is hard to see. But I don't think that Donald will, for 1 minute, will have imagined that Canada has any options because of the size of its current trading relationship with America. But it does have options, and I believe it should seize those, because that will give it the chance to diversify its economy into other global markets. So politicians, be careful what you do, because what looks like a great idea today may come and bite you on the backside later. And that's all for today. If you like this stuff, remember to like and subscribe for future editions. And we have some face-to-face interviews coming up with leading political figures, which I think you might find rather insightful. Okay, cheers for now. Have a great day.